This is the video for 2.6b, Quartiles and Boxplots. And let me just share my screen real quick and get everything all situated. Where's my face? Oh, my face is right here. Okay, perfect. So here we have, what we're going to talk about first is the 5-number summary. And what the 5-number summary is 5 numbers that come from splitting a line into 4 pieces. So if I have a line right here, and I want to cut it into 4 pieces, I have the 2 end points, so the smallest and the biggest numbers. And then I cut it in half, which we learned in the last section was the median. And then I'm going to take half of each half. So I have half of that and half of that. So I end up with the minimum, the maximum, the median. Those are the 3 that you already know how to find. The smallest, the biggest, and the middle. And then we're going to find the middle of each half. So the middle of the first half is called the first quartile, Q1. And the middle of the second half is called the second, oh, no, it's not. It is called the third quartile. Hold please, I got excited and circled the wrong thing. It is the third quartile, Q3. The middle is Q2, or we just call it the median. So think about this in terms of football. We have 4 quarters. At the end of quarter 1, we say quarter 1. At the end of quarter 2, we don't say, oh, what was the score after quarter 2? We usually say, what was the score after the first half? So that in this case, that would be the median. Again, we say, what was the score after quarter 3, which is quartile 3. And then finally, you don't say, what's the score after quarter 4? You would just say, what's the final score? So in this case, that would be the maximum. So quartiles are percentiles, but they're just very specific. So just like quarters, we have 25, 50, and 75 cents for quarters. Well, the first quartile is 25%, and we can see that right here. The third quartile is 75%, and then the middle quartile is 50%. So 25, 50, and 75. We're going to talk about other percentiles in a little bit, but right now we're just talking about those 3 specific percentiles. So you already know how to find the median. And to find the 5-number summary, it starts off very much like the median. The first 3 steps are just like the median. We put it in order from smallest to largest. We figure out the minimum and maximum and then find the middle or median of that. Finally, we're going to do one extra step, which is find the median of each half. So for number 1, first thing I'm going to do is write these in number order. So I have 10, 10, 22, 24, 26. Looks like a bunch of 30, and then a bunch of 32s. 2, 3, 4, 32. And then 34, 35. Oh, kind of real big. 34, 35. Okay. So for the 5-number summary, we're going to have the minimum, Q1, the median, Q3, and the maximum. So the first 2 things, so we did it in order from smallest to largest. Now, the smallest is 10 and the largest is 35. I'm going to write that down. 10 and then 35. Now, for the median, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 numbers here. So n equals 12, and that is even. So we're going to cut it in half. So there's 6 on one side and 6 on the other. So that's going to get us to the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here in between 30 and 32. We saw a median that we're just going to add up those numbers and divide by 2. So in between 30 and 32 is 31. Now, I'm going to look at the median of this half and the median of this half. So this will give me Q1, and this one will give me Q3. So now we already said a little too much information. Okay, we'll just assume it's on our side. We already said that we cut it in half, 6 and 6. So now the top half has 6 and the bottom half has 6. So cutting each of those in half is going to give us 3 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, cut it for Q1. 1, 2, 3, cut it for Q3. So Q1 is going to be right in between 22 and 24, which is 23. And Q3 is going to be right in between 32 and 32, which is 32. Perfect. Okay, let's do it one more time with an odd number, and then we will be on track. So, then we're going to move on. So we have, I'm going to write a little smaller so they fit better. We have 6, 11. Oh no, I skipped 9. 6, 9, 11. 16, 20. Keep skipping. 16, 18, 20. That's why I cross them off as I go, so I make sure. 21, make sure I don't skip any. 25, 26, 31, 33. And let me kind of separate. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 numbers here, which is odd. And when it's odd, we can't split it in half because that would give us 5.5. But we're going to do 5 and 5, and then the middle number is our median. Okay, so for starters, we have our minimum and our maximum. Our median is going to be right in that sixth number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if I do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This way I have 5 numbers on this side and 5 numbers on that side. So I have, so far, the minimum is 6, the median is 20, and the maximum is 33. Last but not least, Q1 and Q3. Now this one's a little different because this time 20, our median, was a number. So when I draw the median line, I cross off the number 20. So when I'm looking for Q1, I'm only looking at these 5 numbers that are underlined. I'm not counting the 20. So in the middle of those 5 numbers is 11 for Q1. And in the middle of these 5 numbers is 26, which is our Q3. Perfect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break from calculating things, and we're going to do a little break from calculating things by hand, and we're going to use the calculator. So coming over here, everything in this chapter is going to be in the statistics app right here. So we did this the other day. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo number 2, but on the calculator. So first, I just need to erase mine real quick because I can't read all these numbers. Okay. So I'm going to type all these numbers right here, and because I'm using a calculator, they don't have to be in number order. So I have 6, 33, 9, 31. If you do this on your computer, like I'm doing right now, you can just use your keyboard to type these in. If you're doing this on your phone, then obviously you don't have a keyboard, so you just, just use the numbers. Okay, I got all the numbers in, and we have our data, which is our list. We have graph, which is our pictures. We haven't done this one yet because we didn't use it for histograms, but I'll show you that when we get there. And then finally, we have our stats, which is what we talked about last time. This is all our number answers. So looking at number 2, looking at our answers for number 2, and if we go to stats, we'll see right here, the minimum is 6. First quartile, or Q1, is 11. The median is 20. The third quartile is 26. And the maximum is 33, which is exactly what we calculated. So this is just a quicker way to get to the answer. And for 1 and 2, it wasn't terribly long, so either way that you do it is fine. But for number 3, it's because it's given to us as a frequency table, it can be a little trickier to kind of figure out. like if you go from top to bottom, like where that middle is. And you could probably guess the middle is somewhere around 7 or 8, but like which 8 is it? Is it the first 8, the second 8, the third 8, or the fourth 8? So I'm going to come over here to my calculator. I'm just going to type in this frequency table. So to clear the table, I use Shift and then the clear button. And then it's going to say, is this what you want to clear? Confirm. And so now I'm going to type in all my values into the value column. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if I'm going too fast, hopefully you're trying this along with your calculator. If I'm going too fast, just pause it, type in your list, and then come back and check your answers because we're going to use this calculator the whole semester, so I really want to make sure you know how to enter in these lists. All right, for frequency, I have 3, and I can just type over. I don't need to hit delete. 3, 3, 1, 1, 1, 4, 3, 1, 2. And now the same thing. I entered in all my data. I'm going to go to the top, go over to stats, and that's it. There's my 5-number summary. We can see that the median is definitely 8, but again, which 8 was it? So this would be a little more complicated to do without writing out the full number line or the whole data set and then, counting it out like we did above. So this is a faster way. So our answers, our 5-number summary is going to be your minimum, quartile 1, our median, quartile 3, and our maximum that we just got from our list. And they're listed in the same order. So we have 1, 3, 8, 9, and 12. The minimum and the maximum would be easy enough to do without the calculator, but it's just finding where exactly that middle is and which middle is the middle. That's kind of a pain with a frequency table. All right, we're going to come back to the 5-number summary in a bit, but right now I want to talk a little bit more about other percentiles. So I told you that this was the 50th, the 25th, the 50th, and the 75th percentile. And so what we're going to talk about is like, what if it's the 63rd percentile? What if it's the 92nd percentile? Like, what about those scenarios? So in order to do that, we call it finding the kth percentile. And you'll notice that's written as K%. In other words, you don't write it as a decimal, write it as just the big number. And to find that, we're going to order from least to greatest, just like the median, because remember, the median is just very specific percentiles, but it's all the same idea. And then we're going to determine, or we're going to use K as our percent. And then N is always the same N. It's the total number of data values. And then for I, it's going to be the index. I'm going to come back to what that means in a minute. I'm going to use this formula in an example, and then I'm going to explain the index a little better in an actual example. The index is the position, but sometimes that's hard to visualize what that means without an actual example. So here we have 29 ages of Academy Award winners. Here's a little typo. That's supposed to say 30 because nobody's 300 years old. What we want to do is find the 70th percentile. So for K, we have, for part A, K is 70. Remember, we don't make it as a decimal, just write it as 70. And for both of these problems, N is going to be 29. So for part A, we say I, using this formula right here, I is 70 times 29 plus 1 over 100. And going back to the calculator, because this can all just be typed in right here, and we're going to go home because we want to do a calculation. We don't want to do a statistic right now. We don't have a data set. Oh, we do, but that's not what we're doing. Okay, so we're going to go up to calculation. This is not touch screen, meaning if you have the app, you can't touch. And if you have the, if you're doing it here, like I can't click. Let me try to show you. I have a calculator of one of these. I was going to show you, but I can't find it right now. I'll show you in another video. Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. It just looks like that. So I go to calculation and I hit OK. And I can type in 70, and then the parentheses are above the times in the division. So 70 times 29 plus 1, close parentheses. And then to get over 100, I just hit the division button. and it brings everything up. And then I put 100 and hit execute or enter. I usually call it enter, but it's execute at the bottom. And I get that the answer is 21. Now, that's not the answer to the problem. That's the index. So what that means is I'm going to count to the 21st position. So we want to imagine all of these people, the 18-year-old, the 21-year-old, the 22-year-old, and so forth, all lined up in a line in age order. We want to find out who's number 21 in that line. And so we just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So here is where I equals 21. It's the 21st position. So the answer is going to be 64. And the reason that's the answer is because that person is in the 21st position. So I is not the answer. I just gets you to the answer. Yeah, by counting. Okay, let's try it again with B. For B, K equals 83. So I is going to be 83 times 29 plus 1 over 100. Nothing changed except for K. All right, since nothing changed except for K, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to show you a little trick about copy paste. So I'm down here in the new entry line. If I go up and over to the last problem, I can just hit enter and it pasted it for me. And the reason I would want to do this is I could just go to the 70, delete it, and type in 83. Just a little bit faster when you're doing the same type of problem over and over again. You don't have to do that. I just like to copy paste. Okay, so then we get our answer is 24.9. The problem with 24.9 is that it's not a whole number. So the way that Newton Alta does this is we round up and we round down. That's a lot of arrows. Up and down, so we get 25 and 24. And we want to know who's in the 24th spot, who's in the 25th spot. So we know 21, I already counted the 21 earlier, 22, 23, 24, 25. So we have 71 and 72. And we're going to combine these by just doing, just like the median, add them up and divide by 2 equals 71.5. So this is our answer for part B. So part A, we have 64, and part B, we have 71.5. There's a lot of different ways to do this. You might have seen it in a different book, a different method. You might Google it and find a different method, but this is how Newton Alta does it. So this is how you need to do it on the project. And it even says it on the project. Do it like 2.6b. But I just like to remind people because that's how Newton Alta does it. And I want you to be successful in your homework. Okay. That's our little percentile break. And now we're going to come back to our 5-number summary and get ready to do something called a box plot. So going back to our 5-number summary, just as a reminder, it came from this picture where we had the smallest and the biggest, the middle, and then half of each half. Well, this middle part right here that I'm putting in green, this is the middle 50%, and we call it the IQR. The IQR is the interquartile range, and we need the interquartile range to find outliers. Now we officially have a definition for outliers. So again, when you're doing your project and you want to show your calculations for outliers, this is the formula that you're going to use to do that. And so to find the IQR, it's Q3 minus Q1, but actually our calculator will help us out and tell us as well. But that's how you find that distance that's in green, Q3 minus Q1. And then to find an outlier, you're going to take the smaller number, Q1, and subtract. And we're going to get a number over here. Subtract 1.5 times the IQR. That's going to be our lower outlier. And then for our upper outlier, we're going to take Q3 and we're going to add to it. And we're going to get, oops, there we go, our upper outlier. Okay, so let's just practice that. Looking here, we want to know what the IQR is and any outliers. So the IQR, we need to have the 5-number summary for. So coming back to our calculator, we're going to go back to statistics. And I need to go back. This is where I left off, so this is where it left me. I'm going to go back to data. I'm going to clear all this out by hitting Shift and then clear. Yes, confirm. And finally, I'm going to type in my data set. Oh, this one's actually in number order, so this one's pretty, could be pretty quick with or without the calculator. 5, 12, 14, 19, 19, 21, 25, 29, and 33. And so you need, if you're using this to get your 5-number summary, you'll see, here we go. Here's our Q1 and our Q3. So we have 27 minus 13. We do need to know what Q1 and Q3 are for later, but you'll see that that subtraction, 27 minus 13 is 14, is also done. Which that's my end right here. It gives you the IQR, which is 14. Okay, so to find any outliers, we're going to look for the lower by doing this one. This is our lower. So it's going to be 13 minus 1.5 times 14. And then the upper is this one. We're going to do that by doing 27 minus 1.5 times 14. So both of them do 1.5 minus the IQR, which is 14. And there's a typo. Did you already see the typo? I'll fix it right now. The lower is 13 minus, Q1 minus, and then the upper is Q3 plus. But that's actually supposed to be a plus line. Okay, so to calculate both of these, I'm going to come over here, go back home to my calculation, and I have 13 times 1.5, oops, that's wrong, 13 minus 1.5 times 14 to get negative 8. And that's okay, that's negative. There's no rules against outlier calculation. And then we have, keep switching it, 27 plus 1.5 times 14. Okay, obviously I was not paying attention. 25 plus 1.5 times 14, and we get 48. And so what we're looking for here is on our list of numbers, are there any numbers smaller than negative 8? Nope, because our minimum is 5. Are there any numbers bigger than 48? Nope, because our biggest number is 33. So what I like to think of it as a bunch of cows in a pasture, bunch of cows in a pasture. And these blue lines are the fences, and the numbers are the cows. And we want to know if any cows got out. So if any cows got out, that'd be anything smaller than negative 8, which there's none. The fence is right here, the 5 safely inside. And are there any numbers bigger than 48? No, there's none. The 33 safely inside. So there's no outliers, but you want to make sure you have those calculations. Okay, so for the last two, we're going to draw this box plot right here and identify any outliers. So in order to do this, we need the 5-number summary. So I'm going to come back to statistics. Are you getting the hang of this now? How to clear, shift, clear. Oops. Am I getting the hang of this? Going to go up to stats, back to data, shift, clear. What am I doing? Go to data, shift. Okay. Tablet is tiny and my eyes are like, ooh. Okay, so I'm going to type in my new data. I have 21, 93, 23, 30, 88, 38, 71, 50, 57, and 71 and 65. So if I go get all my data in, numbers go in data. I want to know what the 5-number summary is. I go to stats. Here we go. Here's my smallest and my biggest and so forth. Interquartile range. Okay, all that good stuff. Now, if I want a picture, if I want a box plot, because that is ultimately the goal, is I want to draw a box plot of this. So that means I need the minimum, the maximum, the middle, blah, Q1, Q3. It's going to look like this. So the minimum is 21. Q1 is 30. The median is 57. The maximum is 71. And no, Q3. And the maximum is 93. Now, this is called a box plot because we have the box in the middle and then we have the whiskers. If you go up, so right now I'm on stats, which is, right now I'm on stats, which is the numbers, the answer, the calculations. If I go to graph, which is the pictures, I'm looking for a box plot. Now, real quick, before I do the box plot, if you were looking to do a histogram, you could do that on here too. If you need any help figuring that out, I think you've probably already done the homework by now, but if you need any help with the histograms, just let me know. Maybe I'll post a video about just the histogram. But here's the box plot. And you can see we have the same picture. The orange is what number is being displayed here. You can see the minimum. So as I go over, it tells me Q1, then the median, Q3, and then the maximum. It has everything written right there. I'll get back to the outliers in a minute. So let's look at this last one, just practicing the box plot real quick. I'm going to go back up to data, clear my data, type in my last data set. 62, 85, 81, 80, 62, 80, 70, 77, 70, 75, 71, and then 12. Okay, 12 kind of seems like an oddball on this problem. So what we want to do here is check that. I'm going to go up to the top, go to my graph, because I don't really need to write out the 5-number summary from the stats page. I could just write it out from the histogram. And I want these 5 numbers here, and here's my box. And so if I go to the graph and I go to box plot, notice this number right here, which is 12, which is the minimum, is kind of like hanging out by itself. So this is what's going on. So we're right here. This is where the cursor is on the orange. Go up to settings. Just so you know, don't do this, but if you go to type, it just means you can change it if you didn't want a box plot. Okay, but we do want a box plot. So go up to settings, and you'll see that it says display outliers. So if I turn that off, and then I go back, this goes all the way down with a minimum of 12, and then 62. It has all the numbers from the 5-number summary. If I want to see where the outliers are, go back to settings, turn it on. And so here's my outlier. So this would be down here where 5 would be, because technically that's the minimum. Oh, no, sorry, it's 12, not 5. Technically that's the minimum, but it's just, since it's an outlier, it's not on my box plot. So then instead of this line right here being the minimum, it's going to be called the lower whisker, because technically it's still part of the data set. It's just not, we can't call it the minimum. 43, 62, 70.5, let's say 80, and then 85. If I go to the 5-number summary, you'll see it has all of these numbers, the 12, the 62, all the way up to the 85, has all the numbers except for the 43. So the 43 comes from okay, what does this data set look like without the 12? Now it's the new minimum, and that 43 becomes the new minimum. So what's going on? What makes 12 an outlier other than just being like, it seems like it's an outlier. Okay, let's check it out. So we have the lower and the upper, and for this, I'm just going to stay on this computer or this calculator screen for a minute because it has all my information. But it says quartile 1 is 62, quartile 3 is 80, and then I need to do plus and minus 1.5 times the IQR, and in this example, the IQR is 18. So go home, go back to calculation, and I have 62 minus 1.5 times 18, and I see that it is 35. So somewhere over here, right here is the fence at 35. And since 12 is smaller than 35, 12 is our cows at escape. Why isn't there an upper outlier? Well, let's plug it in. We have 80 plus 1.5 times 18, and I get 107. So this fence is over here, 107. If this is a number line, 107 is way bigger than 85. Therefore, there are no upper outliers. All right, let's see, we'll get to the screen here. I keep looking at my tablet camera, but I'm not where my camera is. It's right here. Okay. That is everything for this section. I am getting better at making these videos. Hopefully, you're understanding my writing better. And so if you have any questions, just send me an email. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.